Hello everyone, my name is MeKick, and this is Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Well, Heroes 3, but not quite. In this video, we're gonna do something a little bit different. Welcome to our female hero beauty pageant. Yes, that's right folks, we are gonna be making our very own authentic tier list, where we will rank each of these lovely beauties and see who's the hottest of them all. Just going over the tiers quickly, we have S tier, which stands for, S for sexiest heroes. The ones who are hot, like quite literally on fire. A for almost there, but didn't quite make it. B for average, okay. C for crazy, like crazy X vibes, I guess. I don't know. D for darn, you really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel on this one. Or like D for disappointment or disgrace. Doesn't really matter. Take your pick. And finally, F for oof. Okay, with all those explanations out of the way, now we move on to the fun part. Okay, kicking it off strong, we have Adelaide, the castle hero with frostring specialty. That is a little bit cold, okay? I'm actually tempted to put her closer to like the C tier of things, okay? Because she's just not at S, she's not on fire, but I don't know, I got a thing for redheads, you know? She's like redheads are like that's like the color of fire. So in a way, that just goes to show that she is almost there but didn't quite make it to S. I think that's a pretty reasonable placement for her. Alright, so that's going to be the first of many. Now, the next hero, we have Adella. And frankly, I don't really think there's anything too exciting about her. We could see more about the hair. She kind of looks like a redhead, but I don't think so. I don't think so. She might even be bald underneath that hood. That might even be why she wears a hood, so that you actually can't see that she's already having her like hair loss or whatever. Next hero on the list is Adrian. Ah, yes, Adrian, the campaign hero. Of course, she's got expert fire magic, okay? I think that speaks volumes about where she belongs, alright? She is easily S tier, and you cannot change my mind. Plain and simple, alright? Like, just look at her, really. That's S tier material. Plain and simple. I don't want to hear it. Oh, here we go. We've got, I think this is Ein. I can never really tell the difference between Ein, Iona, and everybody else, but I think this is Ein. So, yeah, we got Ein. Now, here's the thing about Ein, alright? Like, I don't know about you, but Ein just isn't my style. Like, I feel like Ein is, how do I put this? She's a genie. Alright, I don't believe in this, this mingling between myself as a human and you know, Ein as a genie. Like, I don't even know how that would work. Right? Like, I have to put Ein around D tier because we're not even of the same species. So speaking of the same species, we now have Iceland. Now, honestly, I think this one's a pretty easy selection right here. That is going to be F, plain and simple. Like, one, on the hotness scale, like, let's be real here, like Iceland's undead. I think that's about as cold as it gets, you know? Like, there's just not going to be any warmth if you're like within close proximity to her. And besides, like, she's undead. I just don't really have a thing for, I just don't have a thing for dead people, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe some of you are into that kind of thing, but that's just not really one of my, it's not really one of my kinks. Next up, we actually have Andra here, and I think honestly, yeah, this is somebody who I look at, and she's got this very angry look, you know? Like, I just don't see her being anywhere other than C. Like she doesn't really belong in B tier. Like, that would be kind of insulting to Adella. But I also don't want to put her in D tier because, frankly, at least we're of the same species. So yeah, I think Andra in C tier is pretty reasonable. Yeah, okay. So we got Ash. Now, Ash is a demon, and I think demons are pretty hot. So yeah, definitely S tier. Let's see. This girl, I can't remember his name, or her name, sorry. Brissa. Okay, yeah, Brissa. The Elementalist Haste specialty. Ooh, that's breezy. That's a little cold. And that actually lines up with D tier, actually, now that I think about it, because she's actually a genie. Like I said, different species, just not in the same ballpark. And yeah, she would make a good air conditioner, though, I'll tell you that much. Okay, who else do we have here? So we got Caitlyn. Ooh, now this is an interesting one. Now I think a lot of you... Well, honestly, I don't know. Never really given it much thought where I'd place Caitlyn. You know, I think probably B tier, like, you know, like average human type of deal. Not quite at Adelaide's level. Not I mean, but I'd gladly hang out with Caitlyn before I hang out with Andra, so, you know, I think that's pretty reasonable. Khaled is a demon, you know, so yeah, definitely belongs in S tier. I think that's pretty reasonable. Well, the next few get kind of interesting. Starting off with Catherine here. Now, so the thing with Catherine is, if you've played the campaign, spoiler alert, she's like one of the main characters, okay? Honestly, she's crazy. She starts wars with, like, the Inferno people. She starts off wars with the Dungeon Overlords. She starts off wars against the Necromancers of Deja. Look, these people just have their own goals, and she's trying to go out of her way to foil their plans of world domination. I think that's about as crazy as it gets, so I'm really tempted to throw her in C tier. But you remember earlier when I said Adelaide's a redhead, and, you know, that's kind of why I wanted to put her in A tier? Well, it's kind of the same story. So Catherine's somewhere between A and C, so I think B tier is pretty reasonable. Now, alright, we've got Charna. Okay, so, honestly, I wouldn't be too opposed to going out on a date with Charna. Believe it or not, I know this might come as a surprise, even though I was just talking about how I wouldn't really want to, you know, I wouldn't want to hang out with Iceland, right? But the thing with Charna is I don't think she's undead. I think she's got really pale skin, but I think she's still human. So yeah, but she's obviously like a death knight. She hangs out with skeletons. It's kind of a bad influence for her, you know, so I do think that she's a little bit on the crazier side. Belongs in C tier. No higher than that, I think. CL, ooh, yeah, nothing really much to be said here. Standard, I guess, human. No crazy fire type skills. She's not on the really cold side. She has like water magic, but I'm gonna give her a pass on B tier. Same story with Syra. Not nearly as good an air conditioner as Brissa, but again, yeah, you know, B tier. I think that's a pretty good placement. Okay, so Daremyth, D tier, different species. Fiona, ooh, now that's an interesting one. So, you know, as I think it's Heretic, right? As a Heretic, I'm really tempted to, like, place her in S tier, but she's not a demon like Ash or Khaled. So in this case, she's an Inferno, and I think that's pretty hot. So that belongs in A tier. Okay, so next up is Gem. Honestly, this... Whoever did the eyeliner on Gem needs to be fired. Very tempted to put her into C tier, but I'll throw her into B tier. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, she's still, yeah, kind of your average female human. But I can't say the same about Gerd. Now, the thing about Gerd is, like, I don't really like that look she's giving me, you know? Like, there's some angry vibes. It's the same story as Andra. Like, I think Gerd and Andra would probably get along pretty nicely, but one of them's in Stronghold and the other one's in Fortress, so, yeah, they're bound to be rivals forever or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, probably C tier, because she's probably low-key kind of crazy. Next two heroes. Okay, so this might come as a surprise to you, but I have a thing for barbarian women. So, yeah, Gretchen. Oh yeah, A tier. Yep. Don't even mind that they're of a different species. I think it's pretty hot. If you're a if you're a woman that's been accepted into the barbarian following, yep, that is A tier material at a bare minimum, and I think that is a pretty fair placement. Ah, yes, of course. The hero that inspired this whole tier list in the first place. Yep, S tier number 1. No questions asked. She's literally on fire. That's about as hot as it gets. So, next up we have Iona, again, another genie. One among many, throwing her in D tier. Isra. Now, some of you might find the necromancy specialty kind of sexy, but at the end of the day, I'm just not really all that into skeletons, so automatic F tier. Genova. Genova. So, I don't know, for me, I just feel like she looks very similar to your average female human, but when I take a closer look, she's got like those elven ears. I think that's a little exotic, and I feel like a lot of people would probably disagree with me if I set her to B tier, so yeah, probably on the hotness scale, she would go at A. Almost there, but not quite, I think, is where most of you would want her to be. So I'll put her there for now. Josephine. Yeah, not really much to say here. I think B tier is a pretty solid placement. Logistics specialty, some of you might be into that kind of thing. Personally, I don't think logistics makes her all that much more attractive. I'm going to throw her in a B tier. Labitha. Ooh, Labitha. Yeah, same story. I think Kira's just a little bit cuter than Labitha, but yeah, I don't think that these two are too far off. I don't think either one of them belongs in A or C. Alright, now I don't know what the cabbage this is. Yeah, again, different species. So, yeah, I'm gonna throw her into D tier. Silly fish face. Very tempted to, you know what, actually, F for fish face. She belongs in F tier. Okay, done. So, Lorelei. I'm not gonna lie. I think that as a dungeon overlord, she's got that long flowing hair, you know, and she probably dances with dragons, you know, in her spare times. I know that at the very least she tames harpies, so yeah, for me that's pretty hot, and that goes into A tier. I'm pretty on board with that. And speaking of which, we have probably the hottest A tier hero that I could probably guess. And that's Luna. Now, some of you might be surprised by this placement, and I think the reasoning for this is pretty simple. Like, yeah, in terms of like her ability to like cast Firewall, I think a lot of people think, yeah, that's super hot. But in terms of her like overall appearance, I feel like she would be closer to B tier. Okay, so I think that A tier is a pretty good compromise. She's got the skills to put her closer to S, but then her looks are closer to B, arguably even C. So yeah, I think A is a pretty good compromise. Who is up next? Oh, Marius. Okay, well that one's pretty clear to me. Demon from Hell belongs in S tier. Even has the demon specialty. Like, I don't think it gets much hotter than that. Next hero is Melodia, and I believe that she doesn't really have anything too crazy about her, so she can go into B tier. That's no problem. Mephala. Ooh, now this is a tough one. I feel like a lot of you are going to want to put her into A tier because of usefulness of specialty, and because honestly, she is kind of cute, I'll admit. Very like, me personally, just off the bat, I would throw her into B tier, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some backlash over that, so I'm going to throw her into A tier. I think it's a pretty reasonable compromise in this case. And then that takes us to... I can never remember the names. Marist, yes, there we go. This is Marist. And again, this is a different species, so I'm not into this, like, I'm not into animals. That's just not how I am. I'm only into humans, okay? So yeah, definitely D tier. Not quite as bad as, you know, having a go at it with the undead, but still pretty bad. Alright, Merland is up next, and you remember what I said at the very beginning for C tier, that's like, you know, crazy X vibes? Yeah, that's what I see from Merlanda, okay? Like, she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now I want some Cocoa Puffs, but yeah, no, she definitely, yeah, she goes into C tier, no questions asked. She is crazy. The next two heroes are essentially one and the same. It's Mutair and Mutair Drake. So, Mutair, honestly, is the prime example of somebody who is crazy, okay? Like, normally I would just say, yeah, she's C tier and I'd be done with it, but I think she's pretty sexy. She's redhead, she tames dragons, you know? She's a dungeon overlord, and she doesn't afraid of anything. So, you know, automatically, I take, like, she's crazy, but I give her a free pass all the way into A tier. No questions asked. Even arguably S tier. But on the flip side, when she takes the, when she becomes Mutair Drake, okay, that's a prime example of why you just don't do plastic surgery ever. Alright, like, when you talk to whoever carries out the plastic surgery, your doctor or whatever, yeah, this is what can happen if it goes wrong. You go from looking like, you know, somebody that you'd want to hang around with on Tinder dates to this thing. And I don't know what that is, like some crazy animal, and I don't think that I'm in for that. That's just not my thing. I'm telling you right now. We have Neela. That's a pretty easy placement. She's a genie. Gonna throw her in D tier. Alright, next two heroes. Nymus, automatic S tier. Would love to have a date with Nymus. Same with Octavia. Preferably both of these two at the same time at some point. I don't know if they're into that kind of thing, but I certainly would be. Who else do we have here? We've got Alemma. Yep. I will go on a limb and say B tier. Don't think she's exactly the hottest individual, but I don't think she's cuckoo either, like Merlanda is. Now, remember what I said about being into barbarian women? Well, Oris isn't exactly a barbarian woman, but she's close enough, so yeah, throwing into A tier. Passus is a chick? Kind of an interesting case because she is a heretic, kind of like Octavia and Nymus and Marius and Khalid and, okay, maybe she's an Inferno hero, like the rest of these. She doesn't even have any, like, special cool fire magic like Luna or Adelaide, but I'm gonna tell you this right now, I think that the fact that she is Inferno puts her at a very honorable A tier. Rissa, B tier. I don't really think there's anything more to be said than that. Ah, yes, right. I believe this is Rosic, right? I can never remember. No, Tiva. This one's Tiva. This one's Maris, this one's Tiva, and then this one is, um, this one's Rosic, I think. I can never remember the names, but you know what? I'm gonna do this now ahead of time rather than later. Sonia belongs in B tier. I really don't think I have anything. I'm very tempted to put her in C tier just because she has Eagle Eye specialty, but I'll try to be fair to her. But Sephiroth, on the other hand, I can't quite say the same. And yeah, like, she just, to me, belongs in C tier. One, because she looks like she just hasn't ever had enough sleep in her entire life. And also because whoever did her eyebrows needs to be fired and they need to go into a new profession, like, yesterday. Okay, that takes us actually to Septiana, interestingly enough. Now, if you recall what I said previously about Charna, I think the same story here kind of applies. Like, yeah, true, Septiana is a necromancer, but I don't think she's a skeleton. I don't really think she's a vampire. I think she's actually still a human, but the fact that she's, like, with the necropolis means that she's crazy by default. Oof, oh wow, we're already on the last row. Ah, that went a lot quicker than I expected it to, actually. But okay, so here we go. We have Serena, standard B tier. Ah, barbarian women, my favorite. A tier. Sorsha. Now, Sorsha. Yep, B tier. I don't think there's much else to be said. Sylvia, same story. And we also have Cinca, same story there too. Now, I must say, Voy is pretty hot. And to tell you the truth, I like women from other species, so I will throw her into S tier. Ah, Tamika. Yeah, Tamika is just not really my type. I think she's a vampire, so yeah, F tier. Oh dear, Thunar's a chick? Before we go any further, I want to actually do a bit of introspective on Thunar. How would that even work, you know? Like, how would you even... How can an earth elemental be, like... Imagine you have to go out with, like, a pile of rocks. I just don't even understand. Anyway, back to the realm of realism, I guess. Tyrus, yeah, belongs in B tier. Same story here with Valeska. I'm not gonna lie, she didn't do her eyeliner properly, and I don't like the way she looks at me, so I'm gonna throw her in C tier because she's crazy. Yep, this one goes in B tier. Domino, same story as Septiana and Charna. I believe that she's still a human, but she's a necropolis, so she's probably a nutcase. And then there were two. So I'll start off with the easier of these two. Zai. Okay, I prefer them to have a bit more flesh, you know? I like them, like, fleshy, so yeah, definite F tier for Zai. And we saved the best for last. That is Stig. Or is it Voy? I can never really tell because all these lizard women look alike. S tier! Really, I'm telling you folks. Like, I have a dream that one day I will get to share the same bed with Voy and Stig at the exact same time. Two women of boundless beauty, and I'm really going in over my head over just a bunch of pixels. But anyway, just as a final remark, I still have no clue how you would get down and dirty with Passus or Thunar. Like, how would that even work? One of them's a walking void, and the other is a bunch of pebbles stacked up on top of each other. Ugh, whatever. So yeah, that concludes my rankings for this tier list. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you somehow made it this far, then congratulations! You watched 28 minutes of nonsense. Uh, yeah. April Fools!